The night of her coming-of-age banquet, Lisa's sister offered her a cup of wine, laced with poison to destroy her life. In her first life she drank it, and lost everything. But this time she switched the cups. Now the poison runs through the veins of the Chancellor's heir, the man her sister loves most. One switch, and the hunter just became the prey. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments which country you're watching from. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy listening. The lanterns over the imperial capital glowed like little suns. Music and laughter filled the Prime Minister's estate. Tonight was Lisa's coming-of-age banquet, a grand event to welcome her home after 18 years away. For most of her life, Lisa had grown up in a small town with a merchant family. 3 months ago everything changed. A hidden truth came out. She was the Prime Minister's true daughter who had been lost at birth. She was brought back with gifts, silk dresses, and a new name, Miss Lisa of the Prime Minister's house. There was one person who did not welcome her. Amelia. Amelia had been raised as the Prime Minister's daughter all those years. She was pretty, graceful, and praised by everyone. People called her kind and noble. She smiled at Lisa with soft eyes and sweet words, but Lisa knew better. She knew because she had lived this night before. In her first life, Lisa trusted Amelia. She accepted a cup of wine from her. Not long after, she became dizzy and hot, lost control, and stumbled out to the garden to cool down. She was not alone for long. A poor scholar named Daniel found her, held her, and did not let go. Guests found them in the pavilion. There was a public scandal. Lisa was forced to marry Daniel to save the family's face. He drank away her money, hit her, and brought disease home. When Lisa returned years later to beg for help, Amelia smiled and told her the truth, that she had set it up. Not long after, sick and shivering, Lisa died in the snow. But fate did a strange thing. Lisa opened her eyes and found herself back at this very banquet. Before the scandal, before the marriage, before the snow. The musicians were tuning their zither. The cooks were placing the last plates on the tables. Amelia was walking toward her with the same soft smile, holding the same jade cup. "Little sister," Amelia said, bowing. "Tonight is your night. Let me toast you a bright future." Lisa looked down at the cup. She saw a faint oily shine at the rim. Not condensation. Not simple wine. She knew the smell. A rare fever-root herb that drove the body wild and the mind blank. In her first life, she had drunk it without a second thought. This time, Lisa bowed back with a shy smile. "Thank you, sister," she said. When Amelia turned to greet a noblewoman, Lisa made a quick, smooth move and exchanged the cups. The cup with the fever-root rim was now in Amelia's hand. Lisa lifted her own cup, clean and safe, and sipped. The wine was sweet. Her eyes moved across the hall to the main table, where a young man sat next to the Chancellor. He wore a deep navy robe stitched with silver cranes. His posture was strong. His face was calm, serious, and handsome. This was Noah, the Chancellor's only son and heir. In her first life, Amelia had loved Noah in secret and worked for years to get close to him. Lisa had never tried. She was a guest in her own home, always 2 steps behind, always told to be grateful. Not in this life. The banquet went on. Performers danced. Ministers toasted. When it was time to honor Noah, Amelia hurried forward with a bright smile and offered him the cup she carried. "May you rise to the highest glory," she said sweetly. Noah accepted the cup and drank, as polite men do at public events. Lisa set her own cup down and folded her hands. She felt the hall tilt, as if the floor itself were about to slide. Not long after, Noah stood up. His face flushed red. He touched his collar like it was too tight. To anyone else it looked like he needed fresh air. To Lisa it looked like the fever root was doing its ugly work. He spoke to his aide in a low voice and stepped out into the night gardens. Lisa waited 3 beats, then followed. The garden was quiet, washed in blue light. Crickets sang in the hedges. Noah leaned against a magnolia tree, breathing hard, as if fighting an invisible fire. He looked up at the sound of Lisa's soft steps. "You should not be here," he said through clenched teeth. "Go back. You've been poisoned," Lisa said, calm and clear. "If you don't get help, your blood will turn. You could die from it. Who would dare?" His eyes were sharp even through the fever. "Someone reckless. Someone who wanted to ruin tonight. Lisa drew closer. There is a side room nearby. I can help you. He squeezed his eyes shut, fighting himself. I do not lose control. Feverroot does not care, Lisa said. If you stay out here, anyone could see you like this. Please. He did not answer. But when she took his hand and guided him toward the nearest side room, he followed. Inside, the small chamber smelled of clean straw and sandalwood. Lisa shut the door and slid the wooden bar into place. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. She did not feel fear. She felt focus. Listen to me, she said softly. This herb is cruel. You will not remember clearly soon. You need to let the heat pass or it will harm you. He held the edge of the table until his knuckles went white. If I touch you, if I harm you. You won't, Lisa said, voice steady. I won't let you. The next moments were a blur of heat and breath and restraint. When the worst of it passed, Noah fell into a deep, heavy sleep, as if his body had shut off to save itself. Lisa worked fast. She fixed her dress. She straightened the bedding. She left marks on his skin that were visible enough to prove he had been in distress, scratches and bruises, but not vulgar. She washed her hands and smoothed her hair. She was the injured party. He was the victim of a plot. The footsteps came before the knock, quick, important, many. Lisa heard her mother's voice, sharp with worry. Find Lisa. The Chancellor's wife is on her way. Behind it, Amelia's soft, eager tone. A maid saw Lisa walk toward the inner garden with a man. I fear she is not alone. Lisa stood a half step from the screen like a frightened girl. She made her breathing quick and small. The door swung open. Her mother. Two noblewomen. And Amelia, who looked like a perfect carving of concern and sisterly fear. Lisa, her mother said, eyes wide with shock. What have you done? I felt dizzy, Lisa whispered, letting her voice shake. I did not feel right. I only came here to rest. Amelia's gaze went to the folding screen and then back to Lisa's flushed cheeks. If there is no man here, she said gently, you won't mind if I look. She stepped forward and tugged the screen aside. On the bed behind it, Noah was sitting up, the sheet pulled across his waist, his chest marked with the kind of heat-borne bruises a physician would recognize at once. His eyes were clear now, cool and cutting. The noblewomen gasped. One bowed so fast she almost fell over. Amelia's mouth opened and shut soundlessly. My lord, this. Noah's voice was quiet but like steel. You will bring a physician. Now. Amelia had planned to catch a strange man behind that screen, shame Lisa again and end her future. Instead, she had found the Chancellor's heir. And the world shifted under her feet. The physician arrived with a small wooden box and a serious face. He took Noah's pulse first. His frown was deep. Your body shows signs of feverroot, he said. It is a dangerous herb. It forces heat through the veins. It can harm the blood if not relieved. My lord, you must rest. The physician then turned to Lisa. May I? Lisa quietly extended her wrist. Her pulse raced, as anyone's would after fear and chaos. But she had a plan for this too. Moments earlier, she had dabbed a tiny amount of the same wine across her lips, not enough to lose herself, but enough to carry a trace on her breath and skin. Enough for a trained eye to suspect exposure. The physician felt her pulse and nodded slowly. She shows signs of the same agitation. Her breathing is fast and shallow. The scent at her lips. Yes, she too was affected. Amelia's face went stiff. This was not how it was supposed to go. A crowd had begun to gather in the doorway, ministers and their wives, high-born daughters, young men hungry for gossip. Lisa's mother looked at her with pain and anger, but also worry. The Chancellor's wife arrived next. She took in the room in one long sweep. Noah on the bed. Lisa at the side. The physician. The mess. What happened here? She asked. Noah sat straighter. I was poisoned, he said. Miss Lisa helped me. Amelia stepped forward. Your ladyship, I fear Lisa did this to force a marriage. Noah did not raise his voice, but every person in the doorway fell silent. Do not slander her, he said. If a trap was set, it was not by the girl who risked herself to save me. The Chancellor's wife studied Lisa's face. It did not show cleverness or triumph. It showed exhaustion and fear and some small stubborn dignity. "We will find the truth," the chancellor's wife said. "Bring the cups and the wine set used in the toasts." Servants hurried. The cups were brought in on a tray, handled with cloth. The physician tipped one to the lantern light and ran a thin stick along the rim. He sniffed. He recoiled. "There," he said. "On this cup's rim." The fever root was not only in the wine, it was smeared lightly on the cup itself. Lisa's gaze slid to Amelia, just for a heartbeat. Amelia's hands folded beautifully at her waist. "Many hands touched those cups," she said softly. "Anyone could have done this." The chancellor's wife looked at Noah. His jaw was set. He was not a man who liked games. "Hold all judgments," the chancellor's wife said. "For now, the important thing is my son's health. Miss Lisa, you will not be punished for helping him." A long breath left Lisa's lungs. She bowed low. "Thank you, my lady." Some time later, when the crowd had thinned, a guard dragged in a thin, nervous man with bound wrists. He was pushed to his knees. "Who is this?" the chancellor's wife asked. "A scholar named Daniel," the guard said. "He was lurking near the inner garden all night. One of the house scholars caught him peeking in the side rooms." Lisa's stomach dropped at the name, memories of another life snapping at her heels, but she kept her face still. The scholar who had caught Daniel stepped forward. "I found this on him," he said. He held up a folded cloth. The physician took it, touched it to his tongue and spat into the bowl. "Fever root again," he said. The room went very quiet. Daniel's eyes darted around like a trapped rat's. He opened his mouth to speak, saw Noah's face and froze. When he did speak, his voice shook. "I was paid to bring the cloth," he said. I didn't know what it was. I swear it. I was told to be near the garden and wait." "By whom?" Noah asked. Daniel's eyes flicked toward Amelia, quick as a blink, then away. "An older maid," he said. "I do not know her name." "Bring the housemaids," the chancellor's wife ordered. An hour later, nothing more could be proved in public. The chancellor's wife hated scandal. The prime minister hated it even more. Everyone wanted one thing: to end the night without disaster. Before dawn, a quiet deal was made. Daniel would be punished harshly and sent away. The cups would be lost. The matter of the poison would be under review, which meant nothing would be said aloud. No one would be publicly ruined. Not yet. But one thing did happen that could not be ignored. Noah stood in the main hall before the elders and said very calmly, "Miss Lisa protected me when I was harmed in her father's house. I will not let her name be dragged." He looked at the prime minister and then at the chancellor's wife. "If there must be a tie between our families as the court whispers suggest, then I will accept the tie with Lisa." The hall rustled like wind through paper. The prime minister hid his surprise behind a polished smile. The chancellor's wife lifted her chin a fraction and gave a small, approving nod. Amelia stood very still, hands folded perfectly. Inside, something cracked so loudly she thought the floor had split. Lisa did not cry or gasp or play weak. She bent her head and said, "I will honor your trust, my lord." And in her heart she thought, this is only the beginning. News travels fast in the capital. By noon the next day, the city was buzzing. Some said Lisa was a shameless girl who had trapped a great man. Others said she was brave to help Noah and had saved his life. Many said nothing at all but watched with careful eyes. Amelia did not sleep. She sat by her window with the cup used in last night's toasts on the table, lit by a thin blade of sun. The rim was clean now. The mark she had made was gone. Her hands shook anyway. She told herself that Noah was only being polite. He pitied Lisa, that was all. He would not turn away from Amelia. He knew her. He had studied alongside her for years. He had said once that he trusted her judgment more than any courtier's. But when Noah visited the Prime Minister's house with a doctor and a formal note to ask after Lisa's health, he did not go to Amelia's courtyard. He went to Lisa's. Lisa wore a simple pale robe and sat across from him. Her hair was pinned up with 2 tiny pearls. She looked young and soft, but her eyes were not soft at all. "Thank you for the doctor," she said. "I am fine." "You should rest," he said. Lisa smiled a little. "I am resting." Silence stretched. It was not awkward. It felt like a quiet war, two careful soldiers measuring the space between them. Noah lifted a small wrapped box. "This is a hairpin," he said. "Gold is not allowed before a formal betrothal. This one is silver with a crane. It is a token." Lisa accepted it with both hands. "I will wear it on a calm day," she said. "Not today." "Why not today?" "Today is not calm." He looked at her. "Because of last night." "Because of what last night showed me," she said, and her eyes flicked for a moment toward the wall that faced Amelia's courtyard. Noah understood. He did not say it aloud. He did not need to. The tea between them steamed and cooled. A few days later, Amelia tried something bold. She staged a suicide. A maid ran across the main hall screaming, "Miss Amelia, she hanged herself. Save her." The family rushed to her pavilion. She was pale and beautiful, lying on a low couch, a white silk ribbon on the floor. Not a mark on her neck. Not a bruise. She reached for Noah with tear-bright eyes. I cannot live if you don't look at me," she whispered. Noah looked at the floor for a long moment, then sighed. "You will not do this again," he said. "You are confined to your rooms for now. You may walk in the garden with a maid. Nothing more." To Amelia it felt like mercy. To Lisa it looked like the first wall closing. Preparations for Lisa and Noah's betrothal began. Gifts came in red boxes with gold cords. The city talked about fabrics, sweets, and wedding banners. The Prime Minister's house filled with bustling maids and happy noise. In the corners of that noise, hate made a small home. It grew. Amelia waited and watched and planned. When her chance came, she moved fast. She knew Lisa visited the Jade Swallow Pavilion in the evening to pray for calm. She sent a note to Lisa. "Brother waits there. He wants to apologize for shouting at you yesterday. Do not make a scene. The house has ears." Lisa knew Amelia's handwriting too well. She turned the note over. She brought it close to her nose and smelled the faint, sweet tang of a cheap perfume Amelia used when she wanted to hide something stronger. Lisa went anyway. The doors to the pavilion were open. Inside, her brother, proud, quick-tempered, often blind to anything but his own pride, sat with a dazed smile. His face was flushed. On the table was a cup. The smell in the air. Fever root. Lighter this time, masked with rose water. But Lisa knew it perfectly now. She felt Amelia step up behind her. A whisper pressed at Lisa's ear. "Be humble, little sister. Kneel to your brother. Ask for forgiveness. Do not shout. Do not run. We are family." Lisa spun, grabbed the edge of the door, and yanked it shut hard. The latch slammed. She flipped the inner bar. Amelia's eyes snapped wide at the quick motion. "Brothel trick," Lisa said, her smile small and sharp. "I learned it by watching others." Amelia's breath hitched. "Open the door." "Not today." Lisa stepped back from the door, gaze flat. From inside, her brother's voice grew rough and needy. He was not in his right mind. If anyone found Lisa in there with him, the scandal would break their house in half. That was the plan. Lisa saw it all. She did not run. She called for a maid she trusted and spoke with a clear voice. "Find Lord Noah. Find my parents. Tell them Amelia is missing. Tell them I fear for her safety." Then Lisa stood in the bamboo shade near the pavilion and waited. When the parents and Noah arrived, there was the sound of a woman's sob inside and a man's heavy breathing. The door was forced open. What they saw made the Prime Minister shake with rage. It made the matriarch clutch her chest. It made Noah's eyes go as hard as stone. Amelia tried to speak. Someone." Noah turned from her and vomited blood into the grass. He had held too much anger too tightly for too long. A man can be calm and then he breaks all at once. Amelia dropped to her knees and crawled after him. "My lord, I swear." "No more," he said. He did not raise his voice. It was worse that he did not. "You will say no more." That night, the Prime Minister made two decisions. Amelia would be married out. Not to a nobleman. To a small scholar who had studied in his household and had the look of a gentle man from a distance. The Prime Minister did not care if the man was gentle. He cared that Amelia would be gone. As for Lisa's brother, he would be sent to the eastern border to serve under a general. A long ride. A harder life. A clean break. Lisa stood back and watched it all like rain through a screen. She did not clap. She did not laugh. She returned to her room and sat at her table and stared at the silver crane hairpin for a long time. Then she put it in her hair. 2 weeks later, the city woke to 2 wedding drums beating in the same hour. At the Prime Minister's main gate, the grand wedding procession for Lisa and Noah shone like a river of fire. Red banners, red sedan, red lacquer boxes, 10 miles of dowry chests like little red boats, row after row. People crowded the lanes to stare and cheer and whisper, "Lucky girl. Lucky man." Near a side gate, a thin little procession waited. A plain sedan and a few red strings tied in knots. This was for Amelia and the small scholar. He had a tidy face and a quick smile that did not reach his eyes. Amelia sat in makeup she had put on herself because her maids were busy with the main wedding. She believed to the very last moment that the Prime Minister would stop this and change his mind. She waited for her brother to appear in a robe as the groom. She looked for Noah's silhouette at the bend of the lane. Neither came. A house matron pushed open her door. "It is time." "Time for what?" Amelia asked, her mouth dry. "For your wedding," the matron said, cold as winter. "Your sedan waits at the side gate. Quietly now. My father has made his decision. My mother has made hers. My brother is already on the road." Amelia tried to run toward the main hall. Guards blocked her. She pushed and kicked and screamed like a child, and it did not help. She was gagged, lifted, and put into the plain sedan. The small scholar walked in front, smiling to himself. The sedan turned a corner that passed the main gate. Through the thin curtain, Amelia saw the sea of lanterns in silk and gold, the horses, the drums, the rain of red petals. She saw Noah standing beside the main carriage, dressed like a painting. She saw Lisa, face covered with a red veil, carried in his arms. Amelia threw herself against the side of the sedan so hard it shook. She screamed until her throat tore. The drum drowned her voice. Noah did not look her way. The main wedding was beautiful. Noah's hand around Lisa's waist was strong. The Chancellor's wife smiled with pride. The Prime Minister held back tears. The city ate sweets and told the story of how the heavens had matched a calm, iron-willed man with a girl who had walked through fire and come out clear. In the quiet hours just before dawn, Noah and Lisa sat together for the first time as husband and wife. The chamber was soft with candlelight. The red veil lay folded like a sleeping bird beside them. Noah touched Lisa's fingers. "I owe you more than a thanks," he said. "You owe me nothing," Lisa said. "We both walked through a storm we did not make." He tilted his head. "You believe that?" "I do." He looked at her for a long while. "Then from today we walk together." Lisa nodded. "Together." He kissed her, gentle and sure, and the soft sound of the city beyond their windows finally faded. The first year of their marriage was golden. Lisa gave birth to a son with Noah's serious eyes and her stubborn mouth. At the full moon celebration, the people who had mocked Lisa in whispers came with gifts and bowed low. Lisa did not ask for apologies. She did not say, "I remember what you said." She received them with grace. It bothered them more. Noah rose in power as the Chancellor aged. His judgment was steady. He did not chase attention. He never spoke in anger. He saved his force for the moments that mattered. In their second year, the court named Noah heir to the chancellorship, and it was as if the whole city took a deep breath and relaxed. A good man would hold the helm when the time came. Through all of it, Lisa stayed simple. She managed their home with clear rules. She cut the fat out of their ledgers. She kept the weak from being eaten by the greedy. She never pretended to be soft when it mattered to be firm. The staff loved her because she was fair. The nobles learned to respect her because she did not need their respect to stand straight. Sometimes at night, Noah asked her about the years she had spent in the small town, the family who had raised her, the small things that made her heart move. She told him about the smell of sugared oranges in winter, the sound of rain on tin roofs, the way the road dust stuck to her ankles on long walks, the old woman who sold dumplings and told stories about lucky birds. He listened. He held her hand under the quilt. He slept well, like men do when they have a good home. And yet, fate always keeps one card for the last act. In the third winter, when snow stuck to the palace gates and froze there, a woman came to the chancellery begging to see the heir's wife. The guards tried to send her away. She would not go. I am Amelia, she said. Her voice cracked on the name. I was once the Prime Minister's daughter. The captain of the gate knew the old story. He weighed mercy and order in the cold. Then he sent a page to Lisa. Lisa wrapped herself in a warm cloak and walked out into the thin, weak sunlight. The woman at the gate looked twice her age. Her hands were cracked and bleeding. Her eyes were hollow. The scarf over her hair was stiff with frost. Lisa, Amelia said, not daring, sister. I need help. Lisa stood very still. She remembered the snow of her first life. She remembered walking until her feet were numb, knocking on a door that would not open, begging, and hearing only the sound of laughter behind silk screens. She remembered the day Amelia had smiled and told her the truth like a gift. I planned it all. You are married, Lisa said. Where is your husband? Amelia laughed, a dry, broken sound. He sold my dowry in the first month and beat me in the second. I have nothing. He spends his nights at gambling houses. He has other women. He comes home when he wants money. I sleep with one eye open. There is sickness in my blood. I have no coin for a physician. Lisa's face did not change. Did you go to the Prime Minister's gate? They told me to leave, Amelia said. A guard said I was not of that house. He said my name is not in their books. Lisa nodded once, as if the world had simply done the thing it always meant to do. Amelia held out her hands, palm up. Help me, she whispered. Just a little. Anything. I cannot stand in this wind another day. Lisa reached up slowly and pulled a gold hairpin from her hair. The gold flashed once in the pale sun. Amelia's eyes locked on it like a starving cat's on a piece of meat. Is this enough? Lisa asked. Amelia reached for it, and in the middle of that movement, she flipped the hairpin in her hand and jabbed toward Lisa's chest. The move was clumsy, her fingers were stiff with cold, but the point was still sharp. The guard stepped in fast. Amelia fell sprawling. The hairpin clinked on the stones. Lisa did not even step back. Sister, Amelia gasped from the ground, lifting her face. Noah still cares for me. He must. Call him. Let him see me like this. He will not leave me out here. Lisa looked down at her for a long, quiet count of 5. No, she said. He will not. She turned and walked back inside. The guard captain shifted his weight. My lady. Leave her, Lisa said. Give her water if she asks. Do not strike her. Do not invite her in. She went on with her day. Noah came home and taught their son to write a clumsy character that looked like a tree with too many branches. They laughed when he ran the brush straight off the edge of the page. They ate hot broth and soft bread. At dawn, a guard reported that a woman had frozen by the gate in the night. Lisa said, bury her where people will not step. Years passed. The chancellor stepped down. Noah took his place and held the city steady like a lighthouse in fog. He was a fair man and a hard one when he needed to be. People thought twice before lying in his hall. Lisa managed their world with a soft voice and a spine of iron. She did not demand love from people who could not give it. She did not waste kindness on snakes. She chose when to open her hand and when to close it, and she never mistook pity for virtue. Sometimes at night, when the city was a dark bowl and the stars were a handful of salt thrown across it, Lisa lay awake and listened to the quiet breathing of the man beside her. She thought about the thin line between one life and another. She thought about all the doors that can open when you have the courage to reach for the handle, and all the doors you must close and bar from the inside if you want to be safe. Once she dreamed of snow. In the dream she was small again and cold and far from any house. A woman stood across from her, wrapped in a ragged shawl, holding a cup that was empty. For a long time they stared at each other. In the dream Lisa did not speak. She set the empty cup on the ground between them. Then she walked away. When she woke, Noah was already up, sitting by the low table, reading a report. He looked over at her and smiled in that quiet way of his that said more than words. She rose and crossed the room to him and put her hand on his shoulder. The seasons turned. Their son grew taller. He raced a horse too fast and broke his arm one summer. He learned to recite the law with a grave little face that made the house staff laugh. He loved sugared oranges in winter. One spring afternoon Lisa's father, the prime minister who had once been too slow to see, came to visit. He had gray at his temples now. He looked at his daughter and his grandson and the house that hummed with good order, and let out a breath he might have been holding for 10 years. "I was blind," he said. "You were busy," Lisa replied. "I was proud." "You were a man," Lisa said simply. "You learned." He nodded and looked out at the garden. "I am glad you came home." "I came home twice," Lisa said. "Third time I stayed." That night, after the house had gone quiet, Noah said, "Do you ever think of the other path?" Lisa reached for his hand. "No," she said, and she meant it. "I think about the door I closed." He turned her palm up and kissed it. "Good." The next morning, Lisa walked through the garden with a basket and cut long stems of white flowers. She set them in a tall clay jar by the gate. A sparrow landed on the wall and watched her, cocking its head. "If you're looking for crumbs," Lisa told it, "you'll have to come back after lunch." The bird hopped twice and flew away. The day went on. At noon, she ate dumplings with Noah and their son. At dusk, she lit a small stick of incense for no reason at all, only because she liked the smell. When the city's lamps came on, she stood at the window and watched the road below. A girl in a blue dress ran to keep up with her mother. A boy walked slowly, balancing a bundle on his head. A man with a bent back pushed a cart. Somewhere, someone played a flute badly. Lisa smiled. The world was still the world, loud, messy, unfair on most days. But her house was steady. Her heart was quiet. The storm had passed, and she had not only survived it, she had learned to read the sky. She closed the window and turned back to the room where her life waited. Pages to review, small hands to wash, a man to tease about working too late. It was not a story people wrote songs about. It was better. It was hers. And when people in the city told the tale of the Prime Minister's true daughter, the girl who walked through fire and came out clear, they told it like a lesson. If a door has a trap behind it, don't be afraid to close it. If a cup looks sweet and smells strange, set it down. And if the night throws you back to the start, learn where the steps are and dance a different way. If you love this story of revenge and rebirth, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. Thanks for watching.